So I'm starting to get really concerned with this guy that I broadcast with, really concerned. We all have our skills. I'm really good at spinning and twirling in high heels on TikToks, and I can make a video go viral. But you are starting to scare me really bad with your predictions. You predicted last year that home prices would fall somewhere between 15 and 20%. And do you guys want to know what it was? Do you want to know what it was? 17%, right smack in the middle of it. Like, what are you doing? How did you know that? How did you know that?
That's why they call me the real estate Rainman. That's why they call me the real estate Rainman.
Apparently, like, my goodness, I need to start doing red or black and talk to you first.
Let's go to Vegas.
Okay, let's do it. What factors gave you that conclusion? How did you piece that together?
So I think it's better to just jump into everything.
Okay.
Because like, you'll see some of the stats, some of the figures that I was looking at back in June when we predicted this correction that was going to happen based on inflation, based on rates, based on buyer demand. And a lot of this was just based on the data from 1981 to 1985.
Okay.
And so we were taking that inflation period and predicting that stuff.
Awesome. Well, we've got our favorite episode of the entire year for you guys today. We're going to recap last year. We're going to talk about what is possibly going to happen this year, and we're going to throw out some predictions.
Yeah, so this is state of Utah specific, but we will also try to kind of nationally give you guys some guidance as well.
Yes. And I'm going to post some clips from last year's episode later, so you guys got to check that out of him specifically stating that. So,
perfect.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get into it.
Okay. So this is every year, the state of Utah gets the National Association of Realtors Chief Economist Lawrence Yoon. They get Jim Wood from University of Utah, who's a great economist, specializes in real estate, and they come up with their forecast. And this is kind of the stuff that we reference every year when we do our predictions. We're kind of basing the data off what they say because they have the official numbers, and then we take that data and we give you what the real truth is going to be because I got the crystal ball because I know exactly what's going to happen.
Literally.
No, not really, but we're going to do our very best to try to predict that for you guys because ultimately the goal is buying or selling is a huge financial decision for you guys. And we want to make sure that you get the most up-to-date information, the most accurate information, because it is such a sad thing when we have a seller who gets an offer on a home and it's at a fantastic price and we're telling him, this is a fantastic offer. You will not see something better unless you have a miracle happen.
Yeah.
That seller then rejects that offer, and now look where he is.
Yeah.
Back when we were telling him, please, you are going to lose so much money on your house.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to listen. And now look, he literally lost over $100,000 in equity because he chose not to wait. Now, if he wants to take the advice and still choose not to sell, that's fine. Like that's your guys' jurisdiction. You guys are totally cool to do that. But don't act like we don't not know what we're doing in this industry all day, every day from whatever we're doing. So
live, eat, and breathe, right?
That's right. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna kind of cover some of the highlighted things on this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right, so in May, the median sales price of a single family home in Salt Lake County hit $650,000, but by December, it has dropped to $540,000, and we just did the math, that is 17%. So
17%, and I'll just click over real quick. We said that prices would decrease between 10 to 25%, and I'll go up here because I was more specific, and I said they will likely drop 15 to 20%. So that was June that we predicted all that stuff that was going to happen, and it's because we're in the market. It's because we know what we're doing, and yeah, there's just so many factors that we can see. Sorry, I'm trying to talk and do
multitasking.
Yeah,
right?
do the multitask. So let's kind of do some more recap of what they said, what happened in 2022. I thought that this part was important for people to see the sales.
Yeah, okay, so home sales in Salt Lake County totaled 13,087, down 26% from 2021, the steepest single year drop on record, 1997 to the present.
So just to clarify, home sales is different than home prices going down. This is the number of actual units that we're selling. And, typically we're averaging around 18,000 sales, way, way, way down. So Not a huge concern for the public. I mean, it's bad for people in this profession who are trying to make a living and they don't have as much. This report also talks about how if you combine condos, townhomes, single family homes, and you add twin homes, the prices fell by 14% from May to the end of December.
Yeah,
so
and the
single family fell 17%, condos and townhomes didn't fall quite as much.
Yeah.
And they helped kind of balance that out to 14% for everybody. Year to date, though, was negative.
Negative 2.1%. So when you guys do hear people talk about that the year over year, like it only dropped 2%, that's really not entirely true.
Right.
I've heard that a lot, like on a lot of news covers, like prices dropped 2%. I've seen that a few times. And
2% from January 1st to January 1st.
Yeah, and that's really misleading.
But 17% from the peak. So everybody earned 15% equity from January to about May.
Yes.
We were all 15% higher. But then after that, we dropped 19%.
Huge steep, yeah.
Or 17%, so that we ended the year -2, which was kind of funny because do you remember what my price prediction was for 2022?
Your price prediction as far as?
These guys said prices would go up 10 to 12. And I said 15 to 17.
That's right, you did.
Percent.
Yeah.
And had it kept going,
it would have been right on par.
We would have been on par, but since interest rates got hiked so quick, we obviously went down the other way. So let's get into some stats of what 2023 is going to do.
Okay. All right, so this graph talks about if a home price crash is coming, and it compares the last housing cycle to the current housing cycle. Now, just to recap for all y'all that don't understand that, we have what are called housing cycles, and we have them roughly 8 to, 12 years or something. And it's just the ebb and flow of prices across the market.
Then a little bit of a correction, then up, and a little bit of correction. And of course, everyone compares this to the 2008 crash and says this is what's going to happen. So this is a great side-by-side graph for you guys to look at. That look, at 2008, 9, 10, we had 8 million jobs cut versus current 0. 130 million payroll jobs, we got 153 million. Subprime loans back then.
Prevalent, and virtually none is the case now.
Huge reason why, although prices have dropped, and we'll tell you if they're going to continue to drop at the end of the video. It is not going to be this huge foreclosure unless jobs really take a massive 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 million hit.
All right, so the next one, 5-year cumulative to new home construction before crash, we had 7.65 million versus 4.6 million for this one.
Another important stat, because we had overbuilt in 2006, 7, 8.
Now there's a deficit.
And now there's a deficit of homes that we haven't built. And so those builders back in 2007, 8, 9, they were the first ones to kind of cause the whole downswing because they started going bankrupt. They started losing all these spec homes. I was talking to a lender just the other day. He said he had a buddy that was a builder, had 75 spec homes.
I heard that.
Yes, we were there. 75 spec homes when the crash happened. Like there's no recovering from that, right? Like he was so done.
All right, so next one, inventory on market. Back then we had 3.8 to 4 million. Right now we have 1 to 1.2 million. So that's less than half. That's like a fourth.
Close to a fourth less. And guys, the trend in Utah, inventory went up and now we're going back down. So many sellers have interest rates below 3% that they are not moving. Inventory will continue to stay low in 2023. And that's one of the reasons why prices won't crash as hard as you might expect and why we might recover a little bit sooner.
100%. All right, mortgage delinquency, 10.1 in the last one to 3.6 in the current one.
And foreclosures, way down as well.
Way down, 4.6 to 0.6, virtually nothing.
Yep, and that's kind of what this next graph is going to show us. The delinquency, 90 days, is very low, you guys. Even you look at like 2015, 2016, we're below those numbers. And that was considered a good economy. No one was fearful of all these foreclosures going to happen back then. Next slide, distressed home sales, just another graph for you guys to see what is happening. And it is so much more under control.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's not going to get worse, or
Yeah.
yes, we will start to see some foreclosures in the coming months, but nowhere near what we saw in 2008, 9, 10, 11. And one of the main reasons is tight inventory.
Yeah.
Tight inventory. We didn't overbuild, we're underbuilt.
Mm-hmm.
People are still getting their homes sold. Yes, they had to take a price reduction to compensate for the interest rates, but that's the only reason why prices have gone down.
Yeah.
If we all know if interest rates would have stayed at 3,
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we would have had probably one of the busiest years
yeah,
on record.
another big boom.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
what's going to happen in 2023?
All right.
Let's-
Well, what about inflation? Yeah. Let's get to that first. So this graph talks about what it did just in the years before 2022 and all the way until July, right? On
Yeah.
this graph. Yeah.
You guys can see the two highlighted numbers, peaked at 9.10. We're down to 6.50. By the time you see this video, it's going to be under 5.
Woo!
Okay.
Yes.
It's going to be at like 5.9 probably by the time you see this. Great news, right? Inflation, very important to get under control, because once inflation gets under control, they don't have to be as aggressive with the interest rates.
Yes.
And again, part of my study is going back to 1981, 1982, 1983, when inflation was sky high and very similar. You can see on the graphs how they're like, hey, we're getting inflation under control. And then they dropped rates.
Yeah.
And then they dropped them a little bit too fast, too quick, and too low. Inflation went back up. So then they had to raise them, but they didn't have to raise them as high
Right.
as what they were. And so you're going to kind of see this little volatile cycle in 2023, especially the second half of 2023, where you're going to have like a good month where it looks like, oh my gosh, the Fed's loosening a little bit.
Yeah.
And buyers are going to start to get back. And then all of a sudden, you probably might even see some bidding wars.
Yeah.
And then the Fed's going to be like, oh crap,
Yeah.
let's put out some negative news so people don't go out and buy a bunch of houses and raise a bunch of prices. Now, one caveat, specifically Utah. We started going down last year, one of the first states, Boise, Idaho, Utah, Arizona, Washington, some of these places that saw it first, we're going to recover first. So if you're out there in a state that you're barely just seeing the slowdown, what I'm saying is probably going to happen more towards the end of 2023 versus the halfway point. But because we crashed sooner, you're going to see it sooner with the state of Utah.
Makes sense. So this recession is kind of mirroring the recession that they had.
Yeah, and that's the best data to look at, right? That's the best data to look at. We're looking at similar situations and trying to figure out how that market responded to what our market's going to respond. And that market was a tough job market.
Yeah.
We don't have a tough job market at all right now.
Right.
We might a little bit coming up, but so far so good.
I wonder if that's why the 80s styles are coming back too, because the economy's
Mirroring
80s
it.
styles. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Corduroy pants, corduroy clothes.
Those are hideous, by the way. But
people are bringing them back.
I know, right? They are. So true. All right. So what's the outlook for mortgage rates? I thought this graph was really interesting and exciting.
a lot of different companies predicting different stuffs. I'm gonna nail this one too. I'm confident of it. They vary between like 6 to 8%. Most people fitting in their predictions between 6 to 7.5. Guys, it will absolutely hit the low 5s again some point this year. It's gonna hit the low 5s. It might even for like a week or two dip into the high 4s. There's only one company out there, the Mortgage Bankers Association, that says 5.25 to 5.5 is their prediction. I'm with them. It will not be in the 6s. And the one mistake that they're making is they're not compensating for the bank's ability to lower their rates. Even though the Fed has raised their rates, you guys will see more aggressive banks cutting their cost and their profit margin and giving you guys a better deal to spark business. And that's why it's going to end up in the low to mid 5s versus 6s or 7s or 8s, 9s. I don't know what some of these people are smoking. Obviously inflation, something crazy could happen. We could go through another something or other, pan something or other, and that's going to obviously bring back inflation, but assuming nothing like that happens, trust me when I say that rates will end or be in the low fives later this year. But you won't see it till the second half of this year.
Well, I feel like your track record is a good sign that is probably going to happen. All right, so will the Utah residential real estate market 2023 forecast. All right, so we're gonna get into what the experts think and what our expert thinks is going to happen. All right, so first thing is no housing bubble.
Correct. Yep, okay. Correct.
All right.
The price adjustment, call it the bubble, whatever you want to call it. We did lose 17% last year here in the state of Utah. Other states lost value. We will lose some more, and we'll talk into that. But as far as like this huge foreclosure crisis crash, I really think that chances are less than 5% that that's going to happen. Jobs would have to get completely decimated for that to happen. And you guys, there was $5.2 trillion injected into our economy from 2020 till now. So like that sheer amount of money is what's convincing me to tell you that job losses won't be as bad as people think. The Fed's goal to lose 1 million jobs, which we're not even losing jobs yet. That is actually a very realistic goal.
Yeah.
That we will stay at that number or below and still make it through this thing.
Well, that is good news. I feel like for most people, inflation to ease 5% to 5.5%. What are your thoughts on that?
They're too high.
You think so?
Yes, we will get inflation again, assuming not another round comes around of disease.
We can't say that word, by the way.
Sorry, that's
why we're talking funny. Yeah.
You got to skirt around it because the algorithms and stuff get messed up. But guys, this is going to be in the 4s or 3s by the end of the year. So
yeah,
they're too high on this. Mark my words on that one.
I agree with that. All right, mortgage rates to remain high, 6.5 to 7.5.
Same thing. I've already told you that. That's going to drop down to the 5s to 5.5 is where it's going to be.
I'm really excited about that one.
Again, wait till the 3rd, 4th quarter to see that, but you will start to see that by the end of the year for sure.
All right, so housing prices will stabilize by Q3 to Q4. Annual 2023 median price close. Annual close to 2022 price. So what are your thoughts on that?
Let me read you exactly what Jim said.
Okay.
He said about housing prices, they'll stabilize right there. And he says worst case scenario, prices will go down about 5%.
Okay.
Best case scenario, prices just kind of stay the same.
Okay.
And we just kind of go flatline.
Okay.
So this is the moment you've been waiting for. The truth is we are going to go down somewhere between 5 and 10%.
Okay.
His worst case scenario of 5%, I think worst case scenario is 10%.
Okay.
I think it is most likely that we'll drop another 5% between now and June. And so I'm going to say like 5 to 7%. Now, what he might be compensating for, and this is actually a really good point, and I have to clarify, will we end the year 5% lower to 0? And why I say end, because it's going to be similar to 2022.
But the opposite. Okay.
You're going to see prices go down for the first half, and I'm going to be over here like, I told you they would go down 7%. I told you they'd go down 8%. Like I was between 5 and 10%.
Yeah.
But then what I think there's a good chance you're going to see is that from July to December, prices start to go back up.
Okay, I can see that.
And that's where I'm going to officially say a 5% drop for the year.
For the whole year collectively.
For the whole year collectively.
Okay.
We're going to drop around 4 to 5%. And, but don't be surprised if from now to June, we drop like 8%.
Yeah.
And then from June, we actually go up
3%
to end at the end of the year at like 5% for the whole entire year.
The whole entire year? Okay. All right. Well, that's good. Upward trends towards the end of the year, most likely. So that is awesome. All right. So residential sales will be sluggish, 12,000 to 13,000 sales for Salt Lake County.
Very true. It's a frozen market out there. We'll be lucky if we hit 12,000 sales. And that's neither here nor there for your guys' information. Bottom line, you guys, first half, you're still looking for deals. You are still getting prepared. You are going to be looking for deals and a little less worried about interest rate because rates will start to go down once inflation is under control. They're not going to go down fast, but they will go down enough that you guys will want to refinance. And then guess what? Next year, they're going to go down more. And then you're probably going to refinance again a second time. Don't be surprised. Be okay with buying in the next 6 months and then be okay with refinancing 3 or 4 times over the next 2 to 3 year period. That's going to become a very normal thing. And if you're worried about the cost, guys, there's lenders out there right now that they're saying if you buy, they will refinance you for free in the future. Yep. Refinancing, when rates drop, they can roll that into the loan. Not the loan, they can roll that into the rate to where it doesn't cost you money out of pocket. It doesn't extend to your loan. It doesn't add to the number of years. Refis are so much better than what they used to be 10, 15 years ago. So look at that, be ready, because in the second half, don't be surprised if rates drop enough and prices have dropped enough that all these buyers on the sideline waiting start to jump back in the market. And because we'll have low inventory,
it's going to be similar to 2021.
Yeah, it very well could be back to bidding wars. And so listen to us, follow us closely, because you won't want to make these mistakes if the market starts shifting back upwards and you're not in the loop. You're gonna miss out on tens and 20 and 30 and 40 thousands of dollars by listening to this advice and following us to make sure you get the best deal possible and time the bottom of the market.
Yes, and we will tell you guys when we feel like it is the bottom of the market and when Justin thinks that it has actually happened. We are going to fully disclose that information to you guys and tell you when we think that is.
Yep.
So, as always though, make sure you guys like and subscribe, drop a comment, tell us what you think, if you agree with us, if you disagree with us even. We'd love to hear that. And thanks you guys, we'll talk to you soon.
See ya.